Hello, welcome to another first appearance rating video. It's unusual for me to pull out a bunch of books from the same title in sequence to do one of these videos. The only other time that I did something like that was when I pulled out Strange Tale 178 through 180 or 181 to talk about Gamora, Pip the Troll, Magus, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that's the only other time. Other than that, I think everything else I have done has always been, I try to mix in a little bronze, a little silver, a little modern, some DC, at least one DC, and some Marvel, but it's a mixture. But here is another situation where I pull out one book and then I reread it, and I find that it's best to include all of them in one video because they all link together. So what I did was I pulled out issue 39. I will give a close-up look to all of these books at the end of the video. They are mid-grade books, but they're pretty nice. 39. Okay, so what's special about this book? The new costume. Okay, up until issue 38, you have the uniform, black and yellow, but they all wear the same. But this is the first time where you see Cyclops in this uniform, Marvel Girl, Beast, and Angel, even Iceman have a new boots, I think. I like it. What is there not to like about the new, more colorful look, right? So for me, I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure some other people may not like the color scheme and look of the uniform, but for me, they work. I give the new look a 5 out of 5. As far as the story, this is the second part of the story where they fought Master Mutant, the evil mutant, and in issue 38. So this is the second part of the story where they actually team up with the evil mutant. You get the Vanisher, Eunice, Changeling, but and the Blob. They team up with them, with those evil mutant, to defeat Master Mutant, I think, is the name of the villain in this book. So the story was okay, average, nothing great. Banshee was actually even in the book. And at the end of the story, at the end of the book, of the storyline, Marvel Girl introduced the new costume, and it makes sense as far as Professor X explained to them that now they're no longer kids. They've grown up. They need individual look. So in that way, it's okay. It makes sense. It's not any kind of other reason than them having individualized costume. So the book get a 7.5 out of 10 for this book, but no doubt 5 out of 5 for me as far as the new color scheme of all the character. What's neat about starting issue 38 instead of 39 is this title start to have a two-part storyline where the second part of the story of each book talk more about the origin of the X-Men. So in issue 38 you have the backstory of Professor X. It's really short and simple before he ever formed the X-Men. And then continue on to issue 40. Here's my copy of 40. In this issue, the first part of the story, they fought, as you can see here, Frankenstein. Nothing special, but the second part of this book is a continuation of the origin of the X-Men, and it goes directly into Professor X seeking out Scott, Cyclops before he was Cyclops. So it gives you the origin of Cyclops, and it's not much of an origin. In fact, I think it's somewhat poorly put together, because you talk about him, Cyclops, Scott running away from an orphanage, and he was way too old to be in an orphanage. The way, I'll give a closer look later to show, but and it's it's didn't really explain very well in his origin how he discovered his power, or how wearing a sunglasses was able to block his beam. At one point in one of the panel, he was able to block the beam from his eyes with his hand. Make little sense. But the part about that story is the introduction of a character at the very end, the Living Diamond. Okay, the Living Diamond actually is an interesting character that carry on to issue 41. So in issue 41, you have the Living Diamond. For those that don't know, never heard of the Living Diamond, he is actually a pretty cool character. He's a mutant also, but he was able to, his arm and fist and hand turn into hard diamond, so make him fairly formidable. I'm sure he can stand up to many superhero with that kind of power. But the thing that bothered me the most about the Living Diamond is the other power they gave him. They gave him telepathy as well as teleportation. Before Nightcrawler, yes, there was a mutant that could teleport. So to me, it's kind of like a hodgepodge of power that's not necessary. I would have been fine with just having him able to turn part of his body or his entire body into diamond. That's cool enough. But it becomes silly once you add teleportation and telepathy. So yeah, that kind of kills it for me. So for that, I give him a 2.5 out of 5, because it just didn't make sense to have so many different mix of power that have no relation. And as far as the story, it continued on from issue 39, 40, 41, and all the way to 42, okay, which is right here. And in issue 41, you also, the first part of the story, you have Grotesk, the introduction of a character called Grotesk. The name is okay. His origin, he lived beneath. He's a subhuman. His race was destroyed and killed off by earthquakes and collapses, and he blamed all of that on the people living above. So he's out to revenge and kill the people that live above ground, that he felt responsible for killing his race. Not bad. And his name, pretty cool. Now, both storyline concluded in issue 42. And issue 42 is actually, it might have a very unique position in the entire history of comic book. How so? Both Grotesk and the Living Diamond, both concurrent storyline in this book, concluded with both villain getting killed off. Yes, Roy Thomas create both and kill them both off at the end. Harsh. The Living Diamond actually in the previous issue was able to transform his entire body into diamond. No longer just his arm and fist. So he's the Living Diamond. The name fit. And I don't understand why there was a need to kill both villain off. That's one of my pet peeve to both storyline, is that I didn't think it was necessary to kill them off, because I thought both have potential to be more in the Marvel villain universe. Grotesk did somehow manage to come back. Years ago, I had a Ms. Marvel entire run, and I sold most of those issues off, and I believe in one of the issue Grotesk was in it. If not more than one issue, it could be more than one, maybe two. But somehow he made one of the few rare occurrences in that title. But I can't recall ever seeing him in any other Marvel book. So somehow he was able to survive his death in this book. Anyhow, if you want to stick around and see the interior of this book, stick around. Otherwise, I also give Grotesk a 5 out of 10 average as far as rating, because he was okay. The story was okay. Nothing that wowed me as far as a character. I would like to see more. There could have been more to it, but since Roy Thomas killed them both off, c'est la vie. As far as Cyclops origin, it's interesting. Okay, it's interesting to see the backstory to how he met Charles Xavier. So that was cool, but like I said, I felt the story was clunkily written back then by the young Roy Thomas. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so here's a close-up of the books, and this is the last page of the first part story of issue 39, where the X-Men got their uniform. And then this is what, as I mentioned, Professor X said, it's time they look like individuals, no longer kids. And here is the second story, where you get the origin of Scott Summers. As I mentioned in my earlier part of this video, it's I didn't really like the story that much. First, you're talking about Scott, who's supposed to be running away from an orphanage, and from the way they drew him, it looked more like he was in college, not some kind of orphanage. And then really, where did he get the glasses? But here you go, and here's Professor Xavier trying to find him. Okay, and let's see, let's jump to, here's a part, as you can see right here, where they took his glass and the glasses fell off, and here you go, his eyes shooting out this beam, and he's covering up his eyes with his hand. That makes no sense to me. But that's it. So that's issue 39. I'm saving the first part of the book for all of these books here. When I do the spotlight on Don Hecht, I have full intention to do a spotlight on Don Hecht. But as you can see, when it comes down to Silver Age book, just look at this beautiful book. Some ding on the spine, not a big deal. I am perfectly okay with a mid-grade book. Like this book right here is, not high grade, but some corner is razor sharp beautiful, and this is a black cover, so all the flaws show up. And then there's some ding there in that corner, but other than that, a really nice looking copy. The worst part about this book, and something I want to point out, in this little chip here, for those that are familiar with Marvel Silver Age, I guarantee you, if you have a lot of Marvel Silver Age books in your collection, you will have many books with this little chip missing right here. Sometimes the chip is missing, sometimes the page tears right there, but there's some funky production flaws that went on that happened to many books. take a look at your collection. I'm sure seeing that little piece missing here is in your collection. It's always annoying me to see a book with that. I have many books where the chip is not completely off, it's just a slight tear, but it's there. I have dozens and dozens of books, Silver Age books, that have the same flaws. Okay, so let's jump to issue 40 to continue the story. So at the end of issue 39, he will run into this character, which turned into the living diamond. And as you can see right here, he's showing his telepathy power. And then he show his teleportation power. And then he show his hand. Look at that, see? That's pretty cool right here, the living diamond. Look at that, look at how strong that hand is. I would be perfectly happy if they stop it right there. He would have been a pretty good adversary for somebody like, you know, Spider-Man or even Daredevil. Okay, so there you go, really short story. And this is perhaps the nicest copy of the books for this video. Gorgeous copy, razor sharp corner, as you can see. Probably 9.0-ish. You know, the worst part is there's a few dinging wear and rubs on the spine. But gorgeous copy. Okay. So now we are looking at issue 41. Living Diamond is now fighting with Charles Xavier. The first evil mutant is what this story is, because, you know, this is prior to the creation of the X-Men, so this guy is the first bad mutant. And I think this is where he went through the whole process where his whole body will turn into diamonds, as you can see right here. The art was okay. You know, Warner Roth to me is, you know, one of those artists where, you know, you don't get a lot of dynamic action. So look at this beautiful copy of 41. This dark cover is really hard to find in high grade. And once again, see a lot of dings on the spine, but the corners are beautiful. You know, love this book. And, you know, one of the few books where it's actually pretty white page. Last of the story is issue 42. So here we go. You have the living diamond. Look at him. And that's how he died. Okay, this is it right here. Not much, not a very eventful death, but there you go. He died. And let's flip through the last page of the previous story where Grotesk died. As you can see right here. They thought Professor X also died. That's not the case. There you go. I hope you enjoyed the close-up of the book. This issue is insanely hard to find in high grade because of the black covers also. But look at this one. Beautiful edges and corner. Once again, most of the flaws are is at the spine. But other than that, look at that. The gloss is just gorgeous, newsstand fresh. And that's it. Thanks for watching.